Today we will have a reading out aloud of a very gentle, funny satire called "The Never Nest." So, never nest, and at the end of the drama, you will understand why the title is called "The Never Nest." So, in this, the characters are Jack is the husband, Jill his wife, Nurse. There's a small character called Nurse, and their Aunt Jane. The first scene is the lounge of Jack and Jill's villa at Hampstead. And the essential furniture consists of a table on which are writing materials and two chairs. As the curtain rises, the lounge is empty. But Jack and Jill come immediately, followed by Aunt Jane. And Jill says, "And this is the lounge. Aunt Jane, charming. Such a cozy little room and such pretty furniture." Then Jack says modestly, "We like it, handy place to sit in and listen to the radiogram." "Oh," Aunt Jane says, "oh, have you got a radiogram as well as a car and a piano?" "Why, of course. Aunt Jane, you simply must have a radio set nowadays." "Jill, and it's so nice for me when Jack's away at business. I even make him move it into the kitchen so that I can listen to it while I cook." So they're talking about the radiogram. "Jack, sit down, Aunt Jane. You must be tired, and we have shown you everything now." Then Jill says, "What do you think of our little nest, Aunt Jane?" Then Aunt Jane says, "I think it's wonderful, my dears. The furniture and the car and the piano and the refrigerator and the radio. What's it? It's wonderful, really wonderful. Jack, and we owe it all to you." Aunt Jane, "Yes, Jack, that's what's worrying me." Jack, "Worrying you, Aunt?" "Yes," Aunt Jane says, "that check I gave you for your wedding present, it was only £200, wasn't it? I didn't put 2000 by mistake, did I?" Jill, "Why no, Aunt Jane. What on earth made you think that?" Aunt Jane, relieved, "Well, that's all right, but I still don't altogether understand. This house is very lovely, but doesn't it cost a great deal for rent?" Then Jack says, "Rent? Oh no, we don't pay rent." Aunt Jane, "But Jack, if you don't pay rent, you will get turned out into the street, and that would never do. You have Jill and the baby to think of now. Jack, no, Aunt Jane, you misunderstand me. No, Aunt Jane. No, Jack says, no, Aunt Jane, you misunderstand me. You don't pay rent because the house is ours." Aunt Jane, "Yours?" She's very surprised. "Yours?" "Why, yes," Jill says. "You just pay £10 and it's yours." Jack, "You see, Aunt Jane, we realized how uneconomic it is to go on paying rent year after year when you can buy and enjoy a house of your own for £10 and a few quarterly payments, of course." So this is installments. They have the house in the installments. "Why be Mr. Tenant when you can be Mr. Owner?" Aunt Jane, "I see. Yes, there's something in that. There is something in that. Even so, you must be getting on very well to keep up a place like this." Jill, "Oh, he is, Aunt Jane. Why, only last year he had a 5 shilling rise. 5 shilling rise. That means rise in the income. Did you, Jack?" Jack, modestly, "Of course. That was nothing really. I'm expecting 10 this Christmas." Aunt Jane, suddenly, "Jack, I've just thought of something. That car, is it yours?" Jill, "Of course it is. Ours." Aunt Jane, "All yours?" Jack, "Well, no, not exactly." Aunt Jane, "How much is it? How much of it?" So Aunt Jane asks, "How much of the car is yours?" Jill, "Oh, I should say the steering wheel and one of the tires and about two of the cylinders." But don't you see, that's a wonderful thing about it? Aunt Jane, I don't see anything wonderful about it. Jill, but there is, Aunt Jane. You see, although we could never buy a car outright, we can enjoy all the pleasures of motoring for for a mere £5 down. So £5 down they pay, and the rest by easy installments, I suppose. Aunt Jane says. Exactly, Jill says. Aunt Jane, exactly. And what about the radio? What's it? Jack, well, that's the Aunt Jane. And the piano? Jill, well, of course, Aunt Jane. And the furniture? I'm afraid so. Aunt Jane, I suppose all you own is this leg. She points to one. You know, leg means the furniture, one table, leg. Well, no, as a matter of fact, it's that one. She points to another. So, all these things they have bought for installments. It's very clear. So, that's a funny part of this drama. The radiogram, the car, the furniture, the house, everything is bought in installments. Aunt Jane, and the rest belongs to Mr. Sage, I suppose. She's just giving a name to the person to whom they pay the installments. Yes, Aunt Jane. Well, I'm not going to sit on Mr. Sage's part, anyone. She stands up. Now tell me, how much do all these installments come to? So Jack, well, actually, he takes out his pocketbook and consults it. Actually, it is comes to £7 8 and 8 pence a week. Good heavens! And how much do you earn? As a matter of fact, £6. So he earns £6, but is paying installments of £7 8 and 8 pence. But that's absurd, Aunt Jane says. How can you pay £7 8 and 8 pence out of £6? Jack, oh, that's easy. You see, all you have to do is to borrow the rest of the money for the payments from the Thrift and Providence Trust Corporation. So they have a corporation where people who are having these kind of loans, they give that money. Jill, they're only too glad to loan you any amount you like, on note of hand only, on one promissory note. Aunt Jane, and how do you propose to pay that back? Jack, oh, that's easy. You just pay back in installments. So this is a couple totally dependent on installments. Aunt Jane, installments. She claps her hand on her forehead and sinks back weakly into the chair. She gets tired, then realizes that she's sitting on Mr. Sage's piece, that chair is not hers, and leaps to her feet again. Leaps means just jumps with a little shriek. Jack, Aunt Jane, is anything the matter? Would you like to lie down? Aunt Jane, lie down? Do you suppose I'm going to trust myself in a bed that belongs to Mr. Sage or Marx or Spencer or somebody? No, I'm going home. So Aunt Jane is fed up because every single thing there in the room outside is not theirs at all. Jill, oh, must you really go? Aunt Jane, I think I'd better. Jack, I will drive you to the station. Aunt Jane, what? Travel in a car that has only one tire, which is yours, and two thingammies, that is the cylinders. No, thank you. I will take the bus. Well, of course, if you feel like that about it. Aunt Jane, relenting a little. No, I'm sorry if I sounded rude, but really, I'm shocked to find the way you're living. I've never owned a penny in my life, cash down. That's my motto, and I want you to do the same. She opens her handbag. Now look, here's a little check. I was meaning to give you anyway. She hands it to Jill, the wife. Suppose you take it and pay off just one of your bills so that you can say one thing at least really belongs to you. Jill awkwardly, thank you, Aunt Jane. It's so very nice of you. Aunt Jane patting her arm. There, now I must be going. Jack, I will see you to the bus anyway. Goodbye, Aunt Jane, and thanks so much for the present. Aunt Jane kissing her. Goodbye, my dear. She and Jack go out. Now, Jill looks at the check and exclaims, £10. Then she hurries to the table, addresses an envelope, endorses the check, and slips it inside with a bill which she takes from the bag and seals the envelope. Then she rings the bell. In a moment, the nurse comes in. with the baby in her arms. Oh, nurse, I want you to run and post this for me. I will look after the baby while you are gone. Nurse, certainly, ma'am. She hands the baby to Jill, takes the letter, and goes. A second later, Jack comes in again. Well, she's gone. What a tata. Still, she did leave us a bit on account. How much was it? He's asking, how much was it? Jill, £10. Ooh, that's great. We can pay off the next 2 months on the car with that. So Jack wants to pay the installments of the car with that. Jill, I'm afraid we can't. Jack, why? Why ever not? Jill, you see, I have already sent it off for something else. Nurse has just gone to post it. Well, that's all right. Who have you sent to? Dr. Martin. Nearly in tears. There. Now you're going to be angry with me. Jack, I'm not angry. But why waste good money on that doctor? Doctors don't expect to get paid anyway. Sobbing a little. But you don't understand, Jill says. Understand what? Why, just one more installment. One more installment. And babies, our baby is really ours. She's holding out the infant a little pathetically. Very sadly. Pathetically means very sadly. So at the end, Jill realizes at least that, at least the baby should be ours. So all that hospital bills they had not paid, and she didn't want anybody to own the baby. The baby is ours as we black out. And then the lights go off. The Cedric Mount, he's the author of this lovely drama about installments, very funny drama, a nice satire, and the old values and the new values, and how these installments, how they entice you, how they attract you. Such a beautiful drama. I really know that you must have enjoyed this wonderful drama written by Cedric Mount. And this is NRK Academy signing out. Very simple words. You can look at the words and their meanings and easily understand it. Please read the textbook, and thank you so much for listening to us.